allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, Mr. Lozano.
Mayor Gerardo Anaya.
Present.
Vice Mayor Marta Garcia.
Present.
Councilman Miguel Villalpando. Councilman Carlos
I can hardly
Gonzalez.
hear anybody.
Present.
Councilman Luis Galindo. Councilman Jesus Roldan. Councilman Jesus Roldan.
He just showed up on the.
He's there.
And Councilman Juan Castillo.
Present.
We have found just so all the council members are.
All right, Mayor, that's all 7 council members. You do have a quorum.
Moving on to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to address council? There is no one from the public. There's no items in consent agenda. So we're gonna go straight to new business. Item number 1, discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 2020-16, a resolution for the mayor and city council of City of Somerton, authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between council, flood control district, and City of Somerton for South Somerton area drainage improvement.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The item before you, as you mentioned, is a discussion and possible action to approve Resolution 2020-016. The background on this item, as you may know, the Yuba County Flood Control District completed a design of the South Somerton area drainage improvement, which includes basically 3 areas: Bingham, Union, and Rollo. The Flood Control District approached the city requesting to participate in the project by taking care of the water and wastewater relocation. In addition, we requested the Flood Control District to incorporate replacement of the old asbestos water main line along Fern between Federal and Union, because they're gonna basically place a new storm drain line there. They're gonna basically remove the asphalt. So we took the opportunity to install a new line in order to have a full width pavement with a 2 new lines underground, and do not came up later on for the street and place the line. So this is one of the things that we approached to the district, and they allowed to go forward with this addition to the project. We also, part of this project, we approached to them requesting the full width payment on Cactus Street, Yucca Street, and Orange Avenue. Basically, the similar conditions. The asphalt is really bad, so we take the opportunity to instead of pave just where the new storm drain will be, basically to pave the entire width of the
What streets?
Yucca, Cactus, and Orange Avenue. All those part of the Zocalo Garden Phase 1.
Okay.
It's basically west of Union dead end, between Union and Cesar Chavez or Fresno. Currently, after the completion of the design and specifications, the total project cost is about 4.7 million. The estimated portion for us is going to be 447,250. This will be divided in 2 fiscal years, currently allocated under 2021-22 budget and CIP. This is part of my CIP, those 2 projects, those 3 projects, basically. The county will advertise the project, as I mentioned, in 2 phases, being Bingham Avenue and Rollo as a first phase, and Union as a second phase for fiscal year 2022. As you see, my financial impact will be on the water, curb, and wastewater for 2021, which is the current year, currently in my CIP, is about 165,000 for this year, which is going to be the Bingham and Waldo project. And for 2022, it's going to be 315,000. As a phase 2 includes Union. Mayor, City Council, do you have any question for me before I move to our recommendation?
So when would this project, has it already been designed?
Correct, Mayor.
So when would it be?
It's going to be pretty soon. They are basically waiting on us to sign the IGA, and they will advertise within the next 2-3 months. Once we approve or we sign the IGA, they're going to approach the supervisor of Yuma County to move forward with the bid for the project.
Any other questions, comments?
Mayor, City Council, our recommendation is to approve and sign the intergovernmental agreement IGA, Yuma County Poor Control District, and the City of Somerton by Resolution 2020-016.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor. This is Roldan.
I'll second the motion.
The motion by Councilman Roldan and second by Councilman Gonzalez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2. Presentation on creation of a small business fund and administration thereof, local first Arizona, 01c3 nonprofit organization.
Mayor and council, we'll ask IT to put the presentation up on the screen. Thank you, Mayor. To begin with, this is an item. It's a presentation only, and we're asking for a directive from the council. The idea has been floated around that municipalities are, in essence, assisting their small businesses, their local merchants in these times with that have suffered closures or have had to shut down or reduce or their services due to COVID-19 and the COVID-19 pandemic. And so the idea is to set aside some monies to help our local merchants and to continue to stimulate our local economy. The city of Yuma has partnered up with a local nonprofit organization. I believe they partnered up with the Arizona Community Foundation, and they've set aside some money to help the merchants, and that nonprofit will be distributing the funding that they set for the small businesses. Our presentation today focuses on a similar type of program, and the council is so inclined, we could offer this same type of relief to our local merchants here in town. As reported in an email, we did get our part of the Arizona CARES funding. Governor Ducey announced his award to our city last week on Tuesday, effectively, paving the way for us to receive $1.9 million. City Council, through the budgetary process, has indicated what their priorities are with that type of money. But in essence, I think we do have some money that can be set aside for this type of program. So, first of all, Local First Arizona is a 501c3 statewide nonprofit organization. Now, our procurement code does allow us to directly select a nonprofit organization without having to, consider 3 other types of similar businesses. So, under our procurement code, entering into agreements with nonprofit 401c organizations are permitted. They supported businesses across Arizona. They work for several municipalities. Their fee for any type of service that they provide to our local merchants is 5% of the award that we provide to Local First. Now, incidentally, I did find out that the Arizona Community Foundation did commit to distribute funds for the city of Yuma at 1.9%. I received an email by the city administrator in Yuma to confirm this. So that's also, if you decide to choose any nonprofit, that might be a consideration or a factor in your analysis, the amount that they charge. The next slide, please. Oh. These are the stakeholders and the partners that have donated or have worked with the Local First and contribute to their programs. As you can see, they're backed up by the Arizona Cardinals, Arizona Public Service, SRP, and so all those other partners that support the vision of Local First Arizona. On July 24th, 2020, several of our staff members, our department heads, and we also invited some council members to participate on a meeting with Executive Director of Local First. In this meeting, she did explain the process that they do an application online. The people that the parameters are pretty much set by us locally to determine who can receive this type of local funding. Some of the ideas that the Local First Arizona provided to us are these are the type of applicants that they've seen statewide that might be able to avail themselves to a small grant to keep their business going, to keep them alive, and to keep them floating until maybe the pandemic is no longer with us. We talk about applicants such as accountants, marketers, HR professionals, tax preparers. We do have a couple of tax preparers here in town. The second bullet doesn't really apply to us. They listed payroll services providers, consultants, website developers, representatives. We don't have much of those type of individuals here in town. But the third one is pretty interesting. The handyman, electricians, locksmith, painters, and plumbers. Most of those trades and crafts that we have a few around town, but we really don't think about how the pandemic has affected them. Also, food truck operators and catering companies, beauticians, barbers, and estheticians. We really we have to remember that some of these on this bullet, some of those businesses have really been closed for a very long time at the start of the pandemic. They've recently been reopening, but they've been some of the ones that have been hardest hit by the closures. There's artists, musicians, AV and technical support. Obviously, the small retail, that's what's big here in town. Physical therapists, fitness trainers, and yoga studios, those, as we know, they're still closed as of the last executive order. So our local gyms and the 2 or 3 yoga instructors that we have in town, they've been shut down. Things to think about are small auto mechanics and childcare providers and tutors. So those are the similar type of small businesses that we have here in Somerton that could receive some relief. Obviously, not in this list are your big corporate entities. We do have some big corporate, some of the food chains and auto parts stores here in town. They're considered big and corporate and across the U.S. So those obviously would not be the target of this type of grant relief. And incidentally, you get to set the parameters and you get to decide which type of businesses do receive if you do decide to do this program. Because this is a statewide organization, this is some of the statistics that they provided from day one, which was March 30th, when they started to provide this COVID-19 relief fund. They said 314 businesses have applied. That represents 555 jobs across the state. These are by industry. This is usually the applicants that they've received. The highest number of applicants have been professional services. I imagine personal care, your beauticians and barbers, etc. shopping and retail. Actually, no, that's the number of applicants. So the largest applicants are personal services, personal care, and retail. And you can see down the list who the number of applicants that they've applied for funding or from local first Arizona. So in total, they've been able to raise 1.9 million. They've already distributed 1.5 million. They've had 2,700 applicants and 618 grants made to date. Now, incidentally, the amount that you would contribute to this nonprofit, it would be earmarked entirely for the city of Somerton, so they wouldn't commingle and then hand out to somebody else in the state that would apply. According to Local First Arizona, they state that about every $5,000 helps a small business survive for about 2 months. So that, in this case, if they do decide to reopen, they have something to come back. This relief is good. I mean, they can use it to pay their rent, make their payroll, continue to, buy their supplies, and just flat out survive during the pandemic. So Local First will be able to collect a W-9 for each business before sending out funds. And some of the questions that the council should consider is what size business would Somerton want to target? You want to say, local and non-corporate? Do you want to put an employee size? Businesses that have less than 5 employees, businesses that have less than 10 employees? Who is it that you want to help here in town? That's an important consideration for city council. What additional information do you want Local First to gather from these businesses? Usually they'll do an application online. They'll gather the W-9. Do you want them to submit information on their most recent tax return? Do you want them to submit information on their cash register sales? I mean, not everybody uses cash register, but those are things that you can consider and you can put as some of the qualifying factors in the application that they'll put together for us. Now, obviously, what is the minimum and maximum grant size Somerton would want to complete? Are you talking about a $1,500 grant for certain type of businesses, up to $5,000, up to $10,000? It's really up to you to decide if and what amount people can, small business can qualify for. And Kimber Lanning is the executive director. She's the lady that met with us at the last meeting. Mayor, council, questions so far on what Local First Arizona does? In a minute, we'll present a couple of numbers about the composition in the face of our local merchants and what we're doing here, and present some numbers to you that obviously you can add or subtract or not entertain at all.
Well, I just want to comment this. I'm Facebook friends with the mayor of Superior, and they were working with Local First, and she posted a link to them. So I started asking her what they did and what. Superior is much smaller than Somerton, but they immediately, as soon as they got the grant, they established this program, and they said that the funds were distributed within 2 weeks of this program starting, so it's fast, and that's what it's meant for. So, and I have thought since we got the CARES Act to do something like this with the businesses. We're doing videos, but there's businesses that are suffering, and so I thought it was a good idea. And I had talked to the city manager about it, so that's when we met. And then that same week, I got an email from Mayor Nichols that they were doing something similar to it. So I feel that, the CARES Act, that's what it is, and money for Somerton is directly impacted to our impact to our economy, and there's a lot of businesses that are suffering, and so that was why we started looking at local first, and actually the Arizona Legal Cities recommended them. They sent an email to everybody, so that's how Superior connected with them. And
yes, Mayor, and you are correct. When we had a brief meeting with the executive director, she did confirm that funding, as soon as they receive the funding from us, they can distribute those funds to our local merchants within 2 weeks. I mean, it's easy. It's going online. I mean, they try to take the red tape and the tediousness. I mean, their mission is to put money in the pockets of these merchants. They'll do anything that's possible to get this released to them. And obviously, so long as they meet the criteria that we'll set for them, I think they're a good organization to work with, and they'll be able to distribute fast, which is what we need to.
I saw Yuma's schedule, and I liked their limits that they had. You know, they had gyms higher. Gyms have been affected more than everybody, and we know the benefits of having a local gym. So if we can look at that schedule and maybe see how much it is. I don't like what's being presented here, at least 5 or less employees. I think that's too restrictive. It shouldn't matter how many employees, as long as they're not a franchise or whatnot. But you know, of course, we have a limit, and we because there's some business here that we know we're suffering. They have more than 5 employees, so that would be my only comment on it. Was it Councilman Gonzalez that wanted to speak, or who was it?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Mr. Lozano on the in regards to I know we're gonna have to control the amount of money that we're gonna be because every business is different and every business have different needs, and I would just had a concern on how we're going to allocate the money. Are we gonna set up perimeters, or like, you know, we can only grant so much money to, depends on the business, or is it, how is it going to be controlled?
That was a question, and that's why I mentioned that the city of Yuma had a limit depending on the type of business, and I thought it was well thought out, because it kind of give limit doesn't mean that they're going to get the whole amount. Of course, they need to show whatever it is, but they did have a.
So up on the screen, Mayor and Council, our Economic Development Director prepared this brief chart that shows, and this is just an illustration. It doesn't have to be this, but based on what we have here in the city, personal care businesses, we have set. Can you all see that on Zoom as well?
Nope.
Can they see it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Hold on, we're gonna share the screen.
And that is why I had requested this before the meeting. And I want to ask, I've asked every city manager, when we have information like this, that we get it prior to the meeting. I don't like getting it during the meeting, because this is the information that we need to make the decision. And staff had about 3 weeks to get us this information, and this is something that it happens every time. It just, they wait till the last minute and we get it. And this is what happens, especially now that we're virtually. We need every information beforehand instead of in the meeting.
Sure. All right, can council see the chart that's up on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so Mayor and Council, if you can take a look at the chart, we've identified about 7 personal care businesses, and Mr. Tapia, can you elaborate on personal care? Those are barbers and.
I think we council pretty much understands. Well, let's not drag this meeting. I think if we just spell it out and council has questions, but personal care, I think it's pretty self-explanatory what it is. Barbershops, salons, and massage parlors, but we don't have them.
Okay, so this is
This chart represents
A number of businesses.
if you were to do a grant amount, in the amount for these businesses in that, and
Column next to it.
you're talking about $84,500 in
CARES funding.
plus the 5% fee that first would get to distribute the funds. Now, we're not limited to $84,500. That's just as an illustration. If council wants to set more money aside,
And this is, if you can, help.
help us in determining what those parameters should be.
Do we have Yuma put out?
Oh, what,
The city of Yuma, we haven't contacted them to give us what their parameters are.
It went in the newspaper.
If you decide to say, well, that should really be up to 5,000, or everybody should receive the same amount. Some businesses might not have point of sale at this time, or I don't know if that's a factor, but
you get
to decide.
think businesses should receive, or if it's an idea that you want to move forward with.
Want to hear from council? What do you think?
I personally think this is a good draft. I mean, it's we're pretty much hitting every business, and the grant amount it's kind of equally, in depending on the business itself, and the fact that it's local established small business, which is 5 or less employees. So it's pretty kind of similar to what Yuma has, but that they're providing like 347,000, total, because it's a much bigger city. But in reality, this looks pretty equal to me. So I like the way it's presented. So.
And I would like to say, 100,000 from the care center, and try to see the schedule that Yuma has and see how that is down. There's some that, and that's just that is just the limit, the maximum. So it doesn't mean that each business is going to get that, but at least it guarantees that all the businesses get something and up to, and if they have the documentation. As far as documentation, I'm not an expert, I'm not a business owner, so whatever has been done by the local first with their experience with other cities or Yuma, and I like local first, but if staff wants to hear from the Community Foundation and they want to make a recommendation, I would be fine with that and bring it back to council. But I just I feel comfortable, but I would like to do this by next council meeting, so businesses are suffering and we can get those funds distributed right away. I think that would be great.
Well, like Mayor was saying, if we have all this 15 restaurants, 6 shopping retail, market, personal care, I think, like you said, we have to act quickly because, they've been suffering since March. And, the money is there, and like you said, it's 100,000 to me sounds reasonable, and I think as soon as possible, because we have seen El Cafeton, I don't think it's open no more. So, maybe a week or two, it's, for us, maybe it's nothing, but for them it's a lot because they've been closed or been without business for over 3-4 months. So I think it's like the mayor said, we need to act quick and as fast as possible.
Mayor, I agree with you and Mr. Galindo about doing the 100,000. But I was also, can we leave open, not do 5? Well, not open, but 5 employees or less. I don't know. I think we're restricting, a few businesses. What about if one
Yeah, I
has
agree with that.
6 employees?
I think if it's one employee or 3 employees, still they're been suffering, you know, like we have some barber shops here, they only have maybe 2. That doesn't mean, you know, just because they have 2, you know, maybe the amount is less, but they need to get something else.
I think it was the other way around, limited to
No more than 5
employees, but I think here locally, I don't see a lot of our local businesses having more than 10, 15. I don't think that would be, or that, yeah, that we would put,
There's a limit on the number of employees.
Yeah,
Because if we do, yeah, we're gonna.
that's my own. Yes, to control.
For an example.
I'm looking at Yuma's. Go ahead.
This is Councilman Gelpando. I do have some concerns. You know, I strongly feel that if we're gonna, I'm okay with 100,000 if you guys want to do 100,000. But I also agree with you, Mayor, that I would like to hear from the Arizona Community Foundation, see how quickly they could distribute the funding, and at 1.9 saves us about $4,000, which is equivalent to probably another couple of businesses that we'd be able to help out. But my biggest concern is that if we're going to help out any business that they were operating prior to pretty much what is now almost like a shutdown, or it's not business as usual. I mean, I would like to help out those businesses that were existing and were prior to that, and also that they are current with their taxes. We've had issues here in the city of Somerton. A lot of businesses weren't up to date with their taxes. So if they're going to receive this assistance, you know, they should be current with their taxes, and they should be businesses that are paying taxes. So that's my only 2 areas of concern, is that 1, were they established prior, and 2, are they currently paying taxes, and are they current with their taxes? And also, you know, that they have a business license at the time the state went pretty much on a shutdown. I don't want to see somebody that wasn't even current with their business license. All of a sudden they go, oh, well, I'm going to go renew it, and then I'm going to file for a $2,000 grant.
Yeah.
okay, well, I've noted those parameters, Mr. Villalpando, and I think that's a good idea to, you know, establish business when the state of emergency was declared by the mayor. We do have the date on that, the first emergency declaration.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if they don't have a business license, they're not eligible.
No, but they can turn around and grab a business license, and that's why I was afraid that they might end up doing.
Yeah, so prior to
Declaration.
any other comments, questions? Councilman Castillo, you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, I agree with you all. And like Mr. Villalpando said, as long as they were current prior to the shutdown and everything, I think that's, it's good. So I'm good with it.
This is Councilman Roldan.
Go ahead.
I think this is a good idea to provide, some help to these businesses that were hurting. And yes, also with what Councilman Villalpando said. So get the ball rolling, and hope to we can ask the question so we can get this money going to the businesses, especially at this time.
So, any other questions? We got 2 weeks. Talk to the Arizona Community Foundation, set some criteria, and make a to council. Let's get it going.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. That concludes the presentation on this item. I think we had some good discussion, and we took down some notes on providing this type of relief. We're thankful to the Mayor and Council for considering our small businesses.
Okay, summary of current events. Let's keep it brief because we have several council members that are interested in some results.
And it's recent in here.
Yes, from,
Our administrative office, obviously on July 28th, we received notification report of 1.9 million from Governor Ducey for Arizona Cares. At our next council meeting, I'll probably have the invitation to accept the grant award along with the other items that we've discussed today. We will meet again this Friday for our COVID-19 task force, and one of the major items to discuss is the plan for the city of Somerton. Tony Juarez, Chief of Police, says that they received a $20,000 grant from the General's office this past week. The school resource officer positions are pending for middle school. They might have to wait on hiring one more officer to cover the school the SRO salary. Carmen Juarez Community Development says the Census Bureau has changed the final date to receive questionnaires from October 31st to September 30th, which shortens the time a full month. Our residents need to submit their questionnaires now before it's too late. Contract workers are going in door to door this week, assisting residents to fill out their census questionnaires, and city staff will be available this week, completing questionnaires at local schools during the equipment distribution days. San Palacios Public Works Director, Zocalo Gardens water main replacement and the street reconstruction project, telling us that the project is basically completed. Staff completed the preliminary walkthrough and has sent the list of deficiencies to the contractor. Minor items needed to be addressed, and they were just housekeeping items. The project should be 100% completed by this Friday. Cesar Chavez Avenue traffic signal in the reconstruction project was advertised, and staff started receiving questions from the bidders. As of now, we have one addendum to issue. The pre-bid meeting has been scheduled for this Thursday, August 6th. Jesus Mesa, Parks and Recreation Director. Department is reviewing the scope of work for Parks Complex project at the high school site. Staff is also preparing an update of the improvement district maintenance and plan moving forward for the August 18th meeting. Hector Tapia, Economic Development Director, says Popeyes, Louisiana-style chicken dining restaurant, is looking for a place in Somerton.
more to come on this item. Oriental House Restaurant on Main Street continues with the building remodel drawings. And Michoacana
Plus continues with the building construction plans. So those are the three main businesses at this point.
Ms. Diego's Finance Director has been out
Sick for the last 2 days, and so we don't have a current summary events for her. But she did provide a weekly report on Friday on how her department was doing. Mayor and Council, that concludes the summary of current events for departments.
Councilman Castillo.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Roldán.
I got nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Villalpando.
Yes, Mayor, I have one thing, and it's just food for thought, just because it was brought up by a member of our administration, concerns of him not being able to voice the fact that he was looking to do salary adjustments within his department. So just food for thought, and maybe future consideration is to put to put the position of fire chief and police chief back under city council. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman, Galito? Councilman Gonzalez?
I spoke to Mr. Lozano, our city manager and interim manager, in regards to the palm trees that haven't been lit for the last 2, 3, 4 days. The Main Street, I don't know why they're off. You know what happened to those the lighting on the palm trees, and also the trimming on Main Street, the trees. I mean, they're almost like right on the road. So I don't know when are they going to get trimmed. And the 4th of July signs, they're still up. I don't know when are they going to take them down. Those are my 3 things that I talked to him about it. So hope he give us some feedback on that.
So that at least the palm trees and all that needs to be part of the operation procedure. Have somebody drive through and identify, highway. Yeah, because council has pointed out, other council members have pointed out, and that's that I think instead of waiting for council to point it out, it should be proactive approach to maintaining our infrastructure. Vice Mayor?
Nothing, Mayor.
And I was talking to the state manager. I don't know if you guys saw, but the mayor of Yuma issued a challenge to all the other cities for the census and see who gets more percentages from here until we get the walk-ins, or what do they call it? What's that term when we start going to door
Enumerators.
So if you have any ideas, obviously we're the lowest in the county. So if you have any ideas, we tried doing the raffles, but my idea with the raffle was that we had something different, but I think now it's just monotonous and boring. So we need to get people excited to do the census. And if that didn't work for us, then if you have any ideas, go ahead and forward them to Jorge, and let's try to come up with something. And if we want to do a video dancing or something, then maybe Councilman Castillo can do bachata and we can get some census folks or whatever. Just get us to the box.
You got it.
Before we adjourn, could I just say something, please? I just want to wish Marta, Jesus, and Luis the best luck tonight on the result. Whatever the outcome is, hope you guys, feel good about it, and hope you for the best. And you guys still, stay with us on board.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck. It's 7:43, meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Don't forget, special meeting tomorrow at 5. Oh yeah, interviews tomorrow.